All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Apologia TV. I'm Jeff Durbin. They call me the Ninja, and that is Luke the Bear.
What up?
And that is Joy the Girl.
Hello.
And we are going to have a very, very exciting conversation today with a guy that we love. Mm-hmm. We actually saw him years and years and years ago. When we first started Apologia Christian Ministries, before it was Apologia Church.
Yeah.
Was that like 8 years ago? Maybe 8 years? Somewhere? No, it's probably 6 years ago. Maybe. Something like that. But we went to California and we got to see Ray Comfort from Living Waters Ministry. Mm-hmm. We got to see Ray Comfort and his massive, massive Bible.
Yes.
The man has a big Bible.
Oh.
Do you ever hear about his Bible?
No.
It's ginormous.
Yeah,
I guess for all the years of his ministry and evangelism at the beach, water.
I can see it from here.
Water apparently will inflate your Bible.
I told you it was big.
It was. When he first came out, it was like, it looked like it was a joke, but it really is his Bible. Like, it is massive. So he is a great man of God with a very big book. And so I want to introduce, for the first time on Apologia TV, Ray Comfort. Thank you for joining us, brother.
Thank you for having me. That Bible is so big, often when I get into pulpits, people wonder where the voice is coming from.
That's right.
What's behind it?
And
it's my pocket Bible.
Your pocket Bible. So Ray Comfort, Living Waters Ministries, fantastic stuff. You guys might know some of their stuff in the past they've done. In particular, very, really important evangelism course they did, The Way of the Master, used really around the world to point people to Jesus Christ. So fantastic stuff. But before we actually get into all that content, I do have a special clip that we don't always play for people. And I'm actually going to play it right now, and I'm going to play it. And it actually works quite well.
Yeah, and in two ways.
Considering our guests. So here, this is for you, Ray. Welcome to Apologia TV.
Your beard is good.
Your beard is good. And that was Jermaine Clement from the Flight of the Conchords, who is from New Zealand, sir.
Wow.
Yes.
So what do you do when you have female guests?
Well,
depends if they have a beard or not.
Yeah.
And if it's good.
Yeah, and if it's
not good.
Only if it's good, Ray. Only if it's good. And so I had a little discussion with, we actually have somebody that came today, Ray, from Australia, all the way from Australia, to come and visit Apologia Church. And when I said, is Ray from Australia or New Zealand? He was like, he's from New Zealand.
Yeah,
he knew.
He was very clear about that.
It's a very important distinction.
New Zealand. He's from New Zealand.
Don't mix them up.
So is that right?
Don't do it.
Ray?
Are you guys from Canada or US?
US.
Same thing?
US.
Yeah. Actually, Australia and New Zealand are 1,000 miles apart.
Yeah.
And Australians talk more like this, don't they, mate? There's a bit of a twang there. They've got some wonderful animals and a great rugby team and a beautiful country and nice people.
Yeah. Okay. So Ray,
But
Living
you're
Waters.
not one of them.
He's like, but I'm not one of them. Just so you know.
Hey, Ray's got Lord of the Rings, so
He does have Lord of the Rings. That's right.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me.
Yeah, you know. All right. So Living Waters Ministries, just quickly, just in case, and I doubt it, our viewers don't know who you are. Could you let us know about Living Waters Ministries, what you do, how you get started, all that stuff?
Yeah, started back in New Zealand. I began itinerating way back 1978. I used to preach in the local square in the heart of our city, and people would say, come and tell us how you do that. And so doors open up, and they eventually open up at the US. Been in the US for, I think, nearly 28 years. That's why I've lost my accent, which is like totally rad, dudes. So that's about it.
That's okay. All right. So Living Waters Ministries, you say obviously very, very busy. You've put out some amazing videos. As a matter of fact, 180, the video on abortion, is just fantastic. It's just so wonderful. And we actually hand that out at the abortion mill that we go to people. So tell us more about Living Waters and the stuff that you're doing right now.
Well, Living Waters started back in, I think, about 1974 when an elderly Presbyterian minister insisted that he buy me one of those handheld, what they're called gestetners, that you print stuff off. A handheld one, heading, you put ink into it, disgustingly sort of crude and dirty. And so I printed off, I think, 5,000 tracts, because some guy read a tract that I'd written, called It's Sin, Not Skin. It was about racism. And he wanted me to print off 5,000, so I had to hand print off 5,000, and since then, I think something about 200 or 300 million have been published since then. So despise not the day of small beginnings. It's just been wonderful to look back and see what God has done with our ministry, and then with the movies. we are blown away with the fact that our YouTube channel has something like 39 million views.
Wow.
You think back 30 years, Billy Graham would have a crusade in a city. It would take 2 or 3 years to pull all the churches together and get 80,000 people in a stadium, cost millions of dollars to run. Most of the people in there, probably 70%, were Christians, and yet here we have, without cost or effort, a means of reaching millions of people with the gospel. The Apostle Paul would go crazy
No
if
doubt.
he knew what we had with the internet, you know. So,
No doubt.
So
Yeah.
we're very, very thrilled, very thrilled. We're thrilled to be able to create movies, produce movies, and have people watch them, especially unsaved people.
That's right. Such a blessing, the gift of media and social media especially. So you have, and we're going to talk about this in this episode of Apologia TV, you have a new movie that's come out. It's called The Atheist Delusion, Why Millions Deny the Obvious. We got about 2 minutes left in this segment, but Ray, could you let our listeners and viewers know about this film? What is it about, and what are they going to learn from it?
Yeah, it was a mistake. 8 months ago, I went to a college and I was making a small video for one of my publishers to promote one of my books. And I asked an atheist one scientific question I'd never asked atheists before. And within minutes, the guy changed his mind about the existence of God. He was an atheist, he was adamant, and then he says he believed God existed because of this one question. I was blown away, so I went to different universities and asked the same question and got the same result. So we put it into this 1-hour movie called The Atheist Delusion, and we sat back in the studio and thought, this is the best thing we've ever done by God's grace, and it brought tears to our eyes. And so we released it on atheistmovie.com, and thousands of people have downloaded it to help us financially. When you download it, you pay $20, you get free material, and you get to see the movie 6 weeks early, and you help us have the financial ability to produce movies of this caliber, and you win a free trip to Hawaii for 2 at your own expense. So it's a real blessing. So that's what that movie is, and we're super excited about it because it blows apart atheism. And we're putting our credibility on the line by saying something like this, but it really is true.
Yeah, we got a chance to review it, and I watched the whole thing yesterday, and I was impressed. It's beautifully done, and I think important for people to look at. So what we're going to do on the rest of this episode is we're going to play the trailer when we get back for The Atheist Delusion, let you guys get the information where you can go actually watch it yourselves, and we're going to talk about Ray's book, Fat Chance, and so stay with us. ApologiaRadio.com is where you get all the past episodes, the television shows, the after shows, Apologia Academy, where you can also learn about Christian Apologetics by joining our All Access, a $7.95 donation. You get access to all of our content. Be right back. Ray Comfort from Living Waters with Luke and Joy and me. Right back, ApologiaRadio.com.
Hi, this is Mortimer with Apologia Radio. I want to ask for y'all good friends of ours to go on and click that button there and become my friends on the book face. Facebook /Apologia Radio. Become my friend on YouTube. That there twerker. The twerker, I want to talk to you on the twerking. And send me out a twerk. What? Wait, what? Twitter. Apologia Radio on Twitter. And also want to tell you we talk about apologetics and theology, and we do a lot of swing dancing, and we make a delicious chicken gravy. ApologiaRadio.com.
All right, we're back. Apologia TV. If you're just tuning in, you guys can get more at ApologiaRadio.com. And after this show is over, we are going to go to ApologiaRadio.com for the after shows. If you want to hear more from Ray Comfort from Living Waters Ministries, you guys can catch us at the after show at ApologiaRadio.com. That's Luke. That's Joy. I'm Jeff. And here is the Atheist Delusion official trailer.
That religion is just absolutely uncalled for. We are just mere things floating on a rock in space.
Believing in God makes no sense. It's to me, it's the dumbest thing.
We are not only figuratively, but literally stardust.
Are you an atheist?
I am.
So you're an atheist?
Yes. Yes.
I am.
I need to know what to believe in.
Like what happens when you die?
Yes, I don't want to be a bag of dust.
Did you know that 54 million people die every year? People just like you and me who love life. If you were shown evidence, you would change your mind because you're open.
Absolutely.
I think I am open to evidence. It just would have to be extraordinarily compelling, like out of this world compelling.
Has this made you think today?
It definitely has.
I'll definitely consider this
Eye-opening.
Wow.
I hope I get enough guts to get myself out of this stinking planet.
You gonna kill yourself?
I'd like to.
Can you see what you're doing?
Yeah. I'm lying to myself.
All right, there you go. The Atheist Delusion. That's fantastic. Ray, what did you this is what's amazing is that it's so well done. And it's just compelling at points, and it startled me at a few points. Even some of the questions you asked, it was really, really phenomenal. What'd you film that with?
You really want to know?
I do.
iPhone.
There.
Wow.
That is. You see, that is the glory of this moment we're in. And you said it, Ray, at the beginning, with just the access that God has given to us to be able to reach into the entire world and spread the gospel so quickly. And you did it with your iPhone. It's just amazing.
And it's a microphone connected to the iPhone.
Sure.
Wow.
And it's easier to approach people with. Everyone has iPhones put in their faces nowadays, and it's less intimidating for them than having a camera put in their face. So it was a great advantage.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so what I really loved, I'd love to talk to you about this, Ray, I loved how you highlighted in the film so much of the atheist position and its logical consequences. And so that clip there from Neil deGrasse, where he talks about how we are not just figuratively stardust, but literally stardust. And you really pointed in the film to the bankruptcy of the atheist worldview at that point. You want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah, atheism is the epitome of stupidity, and I don't say that in a cruel way, but it's just crazy. I mean, when I talk about this being dismantling the atheist argument with one question, I like to say that for years what I've said has gone like water off a duck's back with atheists, but what this does is it rips the feathers off the duck. It gets straight to an argument they cannot refute. But an atheist is foolish because he denies the inner light that God's given to every man. Not only that, but he says something that's just crazy, that nothing created everything. Not that everything came from nothing, which is what we believe, God was the cause, but they believe nothing was the actual creative force for everything.
Yeah.
Which is, we shouldn't even have to go there. It's so stupid and so insane, and yet it's embraced by people like Richard Dawkins and my friend, Lawrence Krauss, and I call him my friend now because we've become friends over the last few months. But it's just foolishness, and they have to be told this, and so many people are being duped by them, and there's a reason they're duped by them, because people like Dawkins and Krauss are Pied Pipers that are playing a tune this generation loves to hear, and they follow gladly because atheism gives temporary license to delirious sexual pleasures. If there's no God, then pornography is okay. If there's no God, then fornication, adultery, blasphemy, homosexuality, they're all okay. Anything goes if there's no God. Along comes the Christian and says, hey, if you as much as look with lust, you commit adultery in the heart. God requires an account of every idle word, and we're a huge wet blanket for the atheist. So he'll fight tooth and nail, not to win an argument, but to hold on to the pleasures that he lives for. I mean, in his idea, in his mind, a Christian is a kind of a monk existence,
right,
with no pleasure in life. And it's just the exact opposite. You know, God created sex. He created Adam and Eve naked and commanded them to have sex. They seem to miss that part. If they understood that, they'd embrace Genesis and say, I like Genesis.
Yeah.
And so God's the creator of all these pleasures, but it's just like driving a car. You know, if I give my kid a car and say, okay, I just want you to stay on the right side of the road and obey the rules, then I'll be pleased. You'll have my smile. But if he gets drunk and drives on the wrong side of the road at 80 miles an hour, he's going to have problems. He's going to cause problems. And it's exactly the same with all the gifts that God has given to humanity.
That's
God's
right.
given us sex, one man, one woman. and within the confines of marriage. And so they believe a lie, and it is a lie, and we want them to come to a knowledge of the truth because we love them.
You know, you did something in the film that I noticed quite often, and that was answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes. You did a pretty fantastic internal critique of the unbeliever system and just bringing it to its logical conclusions. But Ray, what I was most, I think, encouraged by, brother, I was most encouraged by, and I know that this all is to the glory of God, and it's because of his power in you and everything else, but I was most encouraged by the fact that when you brought them through this train of thought and you got them to say, okay, yes, my atheism can't work, you went right for some really tough issues that you just mentioned. You talked about pornography, you talked about fornication, you brought it back to the gospel in a pretty compelling way. And I thought that was important because you didn't just do something that was a compelling apologetic argument that refutes atheism. You didn't leave them hanging there. Then you begin to deal with the hard issues, and you begin to reveal, and there was even an admission in the film, why it is you may still be suppressing the truth and unrighteousness. Now that you know that your atheism doesn't work, there's got to be some other reason, even compelling reason, that you're still holding this down. And you brought it right back to sin. And so that was what I think I was really like taken in by and encouraged by. And there was a point I was actually driving.
Yeah.
Forgive me, I was not watching the film while I was driving. I had it in my lap and I was listening to it. And there was a particular point where you were talking to a young man and you brought up the issue where his atheism doesn't work anymore. He grants that. And you brought up it's because of your pornography addiction and fornication that you won't do this. And I just startled me. I was like, wow, praise God.
Right for the jugular. Right
for the jugular. So, Ray, talk about that, because I think people need to hear that. Why do you do that, Ray?
That was Andrew, and he blew me away when he was so honest in front of me with the camera going.
Right.
You know, he said, that's right, you're right. And I said, what did you say? And he says, you're right, I'm lying to myself, which I thought was just wonderful, and I'm so grateful we got that on film. But, you know, and I'm sure you know this, I didn't learn this myself. I copied it off Jesus. And of Paul, of addressing the conscience and not staying with the intellect. The intellect is the place of argument. The carnal mind is enmity against God. It's not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. So when we stay in the intellect, we're going to get contention. It's always going to be there. They don't want God's moral government. So what you've got to do is find the ally in the heart of the enemy. I don't know if you've watched those old war movies where some guy's behind German lines and he's in a bar and he's trying to make contact, so he says the green grass is beside the white elephant that's chewing bananas, or something crazy like that, and the guy finishes the sentence off and he's made his contact with his ally. When we bring up the commandments, we make contact with the ally of conscience, and the conscience is on our side. It accuses. It says, yeah, it's wrong to lie, you know that. It's wrong to steal, wrong to commit adultery, wrong to fornicate, look at pornography. The conscience bears witness. So all I'm doing is doing what Jesus did in Mark 10, verse 17, and what Paul did in Romans 2, where he says, you who say you shall not steal, do you steal? Now, I just want to, I'm so grateful for what you just said and the encouragement, but I'd hate people to think that I was somehow gifted, and this is why. It's like going up to a guy who's just won a marathon and saying to him, boy, you sure are gifted. He'd probably turn to you and say, what are you talking about? This was hard work getting here. See these muscles on my legs? 40 miles a week for years, and a denial of certain foods to get into this. It's been sweat and pain and tears to get to where I'm. It's not a gifting. And it's exactly the same with evangelism.
Hang on one sec, Ray. Ray, hang on to that. Hang on to that 1 second. Be right back, guys. ApologiaRadio.com. Hang on to it.
I want their faith to not just be something that stands, but something around which culture can be built.
We want students who can think critically about arguments, but also about the culture around them, that can then speak clearly to it, and that also have the ability to influence and shape because of the power of their message. Because that's really what the gospel does. The gospel throws down all the arguments against it. It speaks to the hearts of people, it influences, and it changes.
If So What is a philosophically devastating critique of your worldview, it is not a worldview you should hold on to any longer.
Virginia Tech, 2007.
So what?
32 children, kids, students are killed.
So what?
Andrea Yates, 2001, killed her 4 children.
So what?
No, we're not baby eaters.
So what?
All right, guys, welcome back. We finished that segment with Ray Comfort from Living Waters. He was talking about the giftings and running this race. And Ray, continue that thought, brother.
Yeah, so it's a marathon. Running a marathon is not a gift. It's hard work. And if you'd followed me over the last 30 or 40 years, you'd see a lot of sweat and pain and suffering and foot and mouth and falling over and bruising myself to get to a point where it looks like I'm a smooth runner. So that means anybody can do this. All it takes is practice. And I think it helps to watch a movie like The Atheist Delusion to see that there's no such thing as an intellectual atheist. They're very foolish people who deny inner light, and you can go around that intellect anyway and address the conscience. And I was pleased to hear you say you're encouraged to see that, because it's equipping and encouraging. And one thing that greatly encourages me is that atheists love to hate me, and they'll watch my movies and they'll listen to the gospel, not realizing the gospel is the power of God to salvation. So
that's right.
It's very exciting to have a movie like this out there.
Absolutely. All the critiques of your content just gets the content before more atheists, which I love. So let's talk, unless you want to say something, Luke?
Well, I was just going to say, one, I was really impressed that you scored an interview with Lawrence Krauss, because we've tried and it's difficult. So, so kudos there.
It was too.
I know, when you said you were friends with him, I was like, can we ask Ray how to get a hold of him?
But also, I appreciate the fact that, there was several people you talked to, they admitted, well, yeah, this is foolishness what I'm believing. And you didn't just leave them there in agnosticism, right? You said you went right to Scripture, point them to, the Christian God of the Bible and drop the gospel on them. So I really appreciated the fact that you did it in that way as well. So.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Lawrence Krauss, I really love him, believe it or not. Him and I have got a lot in common. I found he's about my height, a little shorter than me, which was a blessing to find someone on earth like that. He's Jewish, and I'm Jewish. He's got a twisted sense of humor. I've got a twisted sense of humor. He talks about God a lot, and I talk about God a lot. He's incredibly intelligent, and I admire incredible intelligence. And anyway, I got this interview with him, and it was just amazing. You may have heard I'm called the Banana Man. I'm affectionately known as the celebrity clown of atheism almost internationally, and it's opened huge doors for me. I've got to speak on the atheist experience for an hour and share the gospel. I've done interviews with the Friendly Atheist many times. Dawkins has promoted some of our stuff. Lawrence Krauss got to interview, and I did other interviews with radio stations. So being Banana Man has opened up huge doors. And in fact, I'm writing a book called Banana Man, Behind the Peel, what's going on behind the peel.
That's awesome.
I'm very excited about it. This Lawrence Krauss interview, afterwards something interesting happened. He shook my hand in the hotel room, and Penn Jillette was in the room, and an actor, and he said to me, "It's great to meet you, goodbye." And I says, "Lawrence, you realize goodbye comes from Old English, God be with ye." And Penn Jillette says, "No, it doesn't." I said, "Yes, it does." I says, "It's in the dictionary." He says, "No, it's not." So someone says, "Google it." So Lawrence got out his phone, he's Googling away, and he says, "Uh-oh, there it is. Old English, goodbye, God be with ye." He says, "Well, I've learned something tonight, and I can admit when I'm wrong." And everyone laughed, and it was a great moment.
That's awesome.
Anyway, about 10 minutes later, I was on the sidewalk getting ready to leave Washington, D.C. outside this hotel, and Lawrence Krauss approached me, and he began talking with me with this actor friend of his, and Paul Perenza, I think his name is, and I got to witness to him for 30 minutes. What an absolute privilege. He's incredibly polite and reasonable, despite what you see on his videos, and I was able to say to him, "I love that video you made about hell." He said, "What was that?" I said, "Well, you said that a guy gave you a Gideon Bible, and you said, how much do you have to hate someone to believe that hell exists and not warn them?" And then he said, "If a truck was bearing down on you and going to hit you, the time would come, if you didn't see it, that I would tackle you." And I said, "Penn, I'm tackling you because I love you." And I went through the commandments, etc. And about 5 minutes later, 2 witnesses to this, Emil Swain, E.Z. Swain, president of a ministry, and and another friend saw him step onto the road with his buddy and almost get killed. There was a screech of tires. Penn Jillette actually spoke about this on his podcast a week later, quite comprehensively, talked about our encounter for about 20, 30 minutes. But he said, as he left, a truck, an SUV, screeched and actually touched the pant leg of his friend. It was they were that close to being killed.
Kidding.
And so we need to pray for people like that, because I believe God preserved him for a reason. God raised him up and used him as a witness.
Penn Jillette is actually one of my favorite atheists today. I have so much affection for that man. I love the guy. All right, so this segment's almost over here. We're going to do more in the after show. Again, you guys can get that at apologiaradio.com by becoming all access and hear more from Ray. But you have a new book called Fat Chance coming out. So Ray, tell us about that, how that connects to all this.
Yeah, it's called Fat Chance, or Chance, and it says why pigs will fly before America has an atheist president. And it has two caricatures on the front, one of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. You may have heard of him, Donald Trump. They're caricatured, they're in front of the White House, and above the White House, pigs are flying. And it really is true, pigs will fly before an atheist becomes president of the United States. It's illegal in 7 states for an atheist to hold political office. There's never been an atheist U.S. president. No atheists in Congress, not one. And even Bernie Sanders came out on nationwide television and says, I'm not an atheist, because he knew it would be the end of his career if he was an atheist. In fact, polls say that atheists are as popular as rapists in America. And there's a reason why they are disdained, why they've made themselves odious in the nostrils of Americans. And that's what the book brings out. It's evangelistic, easy to give out. I think you get these for 50-cent seats through our ministry and you get a box full, so they're great to give away, and the whole thing is written in a New Zealand accent.
That would be fantastic, and I would read it as such.
Oh, that's good.
And you can get it on Amazon.com, by the way. Sorry, I should mention that.
Good, Fat Chance. All right, Ray, great. So, all right, guys, again, we're going to go over to the after show just for a little bit with Ray, talk some more. I'm actually interested in talking to Ray a bit about his methodology. I think that's important, and I think it's a real blessing in terms of always pointing back to the gospel. That's always been an encouragement to me, and I think a lot of people have recognized that, how important that is to point people to Christ and the gospel, to talk about sin and our need for repentance and faith in Jesus. Don't forget, you can go to missionalwear.com. They support the work of Apologia Church. We think you guys should buy a t-shirt from them. That's actually one of my favorite shirts right there. Pastor Luke is wearing missionalwear.com, and that is the lovely Joy the girl with
Oakley Dokley.
Yeah, it's my Oakley Dokley.
Oakley Dokley. Okay, wonderful. Oakley Dokley. All right, guys. So don't forget, guys, Apologia All Access. You guys can get the Academy as well, where Dr. James White and I do an Academy on Apologetics. You guys can check it out, apologiaradio.com. We will catch you on the other side or next week. The conversation is going to continue at apologiaradio.com. That's where we're going to have our after show. We're going to have more content, more conversation, some really great stuff. You go over there to get it at apologiaradio.com by becoming all access. Go check it out.